Hi, I'm Yapo,
And I've been raiding for the last 2 hours.
and today we will be talking about Poxnora and the dragon deck I'm playing. Specifically, a subset of dragons called Skywings, or as all of the goons like to refer to them, Skywangs.
That doesn't surprise me at all. So you were telling me before that these they're a little bit faster when you put them out. They get bonus AP when you throw them down.
Yes, so the reason Skywings is that ability right there. It's called Skywing. Every time I put down a new Skywing, they get 2 AP. The one that puts down is, and then the one that I've
Hmm.
put down most recently gets an ability that gives them bonus damage
Okay.
if they move around.
So you're the Dragon Luftwaffe.
Yes, basically. That's fair. And I couldn't decide which one to put down, and I was like, okay, I'll do this because since they get 2 AP, when I put down the next one I'll just drop and I'll go over there and get the font, and I can rush this guy down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be awesome.
That's good. Wait, no, holy crap, this is even the same match as last time.
Yes.
I mean, I knew it was the same matchup, but the same map even.
So, last video we put out was Poison on this map against Sundered Lands, and I happened to be playing Sundered Lands this time against a Poison deck.
Hmm.
So we're going Freaky Friday here.
How many Freaky Friday movies are there? Isn't there more than one? Didn't they do a couple remakes?
I am sure there's multiple movies with the Freaky Friday.
Well, no, I don't even mean that cliche plot development. I mean like specifically Freaky Friday movies.
Oh, I have no idea.
I could have sworn there was more than one. I
I
might just be
I
crazy.
don't know why I would even care, but
Well, I don't know. You're the one who said Freaky Friday like 5 times today. It was in the thread. It was in the IRC. You said it in Skype before the call.
because it is. I'm not the one harping on about it in the video proper though. So
I think you have a hang up, yeah.
I'm gonna blame this one entirely on you.
Okay, I'll accept the blame.
And
So,
the
so is he going to show us how poison's supposed to work after you showed us last video?
he actually does have better champs than I do for his poison deck. He's got the money poison deck, so
Mm. And now, are they a little bit more effective than the one? I mean, obviously they're more effective because that's why he has them. But are they actually viable now?
yes and no. Um, Still not really.
Mm.
I mean, he uses a lot of the same gimmicks that I do, but the problem is that just poison is not a good damage type. And the only champs I drew are my three most expensive champs that I can't afford to drop.
Rip.
So I'm like, well, shit.
I think
Backtrack.
what you mean. I think what you mean is Skywang. Most important, Skywangs.
Yes. So we have talked a little bit about what makes, or about different good decks and bad decks.
Hmm.
And I figured we'd talk a little bit about what actually makes a good deck versus a bad deck. So, what do you think makes a good deck? Like, from what you've seen so far, what would you think you would need for a good deck?
Well, I'm sure there's a whole lot of bunch of gimmicks, but I would want a deck that didn't have any too strong weaknesses, like the poison deck against constructs. I would not really want that.
Right.
And so I guess probably what I would want most would be oh crap, I can't remember the word. You start talking now.
All right. So the reason I bring it up in this one is this deck has absolutely no detect. I have
Hmm.
no way to find stealth champions with this deck, or traps, or anything like that.
Your deck.
With my deck, yes.
Yeah.
Like that guy that he had that he capped the font that just hid now, and I have no idea where that guy is or where he's going. So that's one of the factors in having a good deck is having abilities that counter things that your opponent's going to try and do. Which stealth is
Yeah.
a fairly common thing, and so having something to help with stealth is considered to be good.
So how does your deck get around that? I mean, do you just kind of roll the dice?
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't. I hope that guy shows up somewhere, or I can find him some other way and kill him that way.
I absolutely love the sprite for the fire dragon.
The agitator there.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
looks great.
it's got some of the. That's actually a newer one, and some of the newer sprites are a lot better than.
Yeah, yeah. That sprite work is really great.
Um, A couple of the other ones in this deck are pretty good too, because Skywings are fairly new. They're all fairly recent, so most of their sprites are pretty crazy. But no, so another factor is you can see this guy that I have selected here has 2 different immunities and a resistance. So one of the other big factors you have in deck building is damage types. If you get too much of one damage type, you run the risk of running into a guy that, say, is immune to your damage type, and then, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
So
That seems like that's. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, I guess. It's just
well,
it's just built-in weakness of your deck.
yeah, and that's part of the problem is like, where do you draw the line between like how many damage types do I need, and is it worth it to run this guy just because he has a different damage type?
I mean, I guess if you had two common damage types, it'd be pretty rare you're going to run into someone who's immune to both of them.
But that's one of the things you have to consider in like a good deck versus a bad deck, and that's part of the reason the poison deck fails, because the poison deck has a lot of detect, so like that's not a problem for him. But poison is a bad damage type, and a lot of your damage is based on being able to do poison damage. So that's one of the reasons they're not so great. Another thing that makes decks good is the ability to deal with stuff like spells, relics, and equipment. Because every deck's got all of those things in it. Some of them rely on it more than others. But for example, Iron Fist Stronghold has an ability that makes spells do less damage to them, so they don't even hardly worry about dealing with spells at all.
Yeah.
This faction, actually both of these factions have a couple of different counterspell options that you can put up. The Forglar Swamp one is actually very popular. It's a spell called Backfire, and it just straight up nullifies the next spell your opponent casts.
Nice. Now, didn't the other guy use one in this? He puts out some totem that made spells more expensive.
Yes, and that's another way that the Sundered Lands faction that I'm playing has to nullify spells. Or not nullify, but help prevent spells. Unfortunately, I don't in this deck have anything like that, and I don't have anything to deal with any equips. So if he puts on any equipment, I don't really have a good way to deal with that. Because none of these dragons have any way to do it.
I know in Magic the Gathering, there were some decks that didn't really have a great way to deal with this or that, and the way they countered it was just doing more of whatever they did.
And that's actually how I play. The Bat deck that I showed off first is actually my favorite deck. It's the one I play most often. And that's the main way I do it. It's like someone's like, oh, you're going to put an equipment on my guy, I'll just drop another guy. Done.
Yeah. I remember when I really like the Ajani decks in Magic, which are basically everything I do gives me health. And oh no, you're doing things? Okay, well I'm just going to give myself more health until you can't kill me.
Yeah, and actually one of the cool things about these guys is the guys whose sprite you like so much.
Yeah.
Actually has an ability where he can make all of the rest of the guys cheaper. Which, if you look at the very left side of the screen there, there's a bunch of little blue swirly things in that bar. And that's the global effect bar, and all those little swirlies mean that all my guys are 8 Nora cheaper. And they all go away when I put the next guy out.
That's a big looking thing.
Yes, this is King of the Dragons, basically. Which, interestingly enough, in almost every other faction, all of the different heroes are different races. Like in Shattered Peaks, one's a bat, one's a cyclops, one's a little moga thing. But in Sundered Lands, they're all dragons. They're all like giant dragons who do shitloads of damage.
Nice.
Which I am totally okay with.
Seems legit. Of course, he's still got that hidden thing out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's running around somewhere, but it was right in the area in the middle there. Oh, and now we know where it's at, because it just hit my guy. And
it's a melee enemy?
Yes, actually what he just did is called knockout, so that guy is paralyzed and can't do anything for the next turn now.
Did they like blow their weekly animation budget on that 3D modeling there?
Yeah, that's an old animation. They haven't changed that since I've been playing, and that's been a while.
I always think it looks weird when you have sprites next to 3D whatever. Particles are fine, but whenever you start throwing in like other stuff, it looks odd.
Oh look, I found him. Or found one of
There it
them.
is.
There's something else too, I think.
What you gotta do is you gotta cover yourself with mud so he can't see you.
I don't know how that's gonna work, but
Get to the chopper.
oh dear.
Can you attack empty spaces? Like, can you say, "Hey, I think he's there. I'm going to attack there."
You can use AoE effects over empty spaces,
Hmm.
but to attack you have to actually have a champion. But you can run into him and find him that way.
Oh, you know what I was just thinking to myself? Man, that dragon looks like the dragon from Willow. Then I remembered I said that last time.
So you can see I went into the acid spray over empty spaces.
Yeah.
And apparently that guy has an ability called combat awareness, which makes him not take damage unless it's directly at him. I don't even remember, but I was like, well, guess he's not
Improved
there
evasion.
anymore.
What a jerk.
Oh, okay, I just killed that guy.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Fire guy's doing work.
Yeah, and he's great because, like say, he makes everything else cheaper, so.
Yeah. Was that the first one you threw out? No, the guy who died was the first one you threw out.
Yep. And that thing I just put out next turn allows me to put guys out around it instead of just on my fonts.
Now, can you destroy that directly? Like, can you just walk up and kill it?
He can, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's just like any other relic. Yeah, and you can see the animation went to go attack the guy, but apparently it didn't work because he's got an ability that... Oh no, I figured out what it was. So, Forglar Swamp has a spell called Bubble of Protection that absorbs 30 damage before it pops, basically. So since he's not officially taking damage, even though I'm hitting him with things, he's not de-stealthing.
Right.
Which is a neat trick that I hadn't seen in a while, but I was like, oh, that jerk.
Especially since you don't have any stealth detection.
Yeah, see, there he is. He's got that little blue bubble around him.
Yeah.
Yep, that's him being a dick.
But no, I'm not. But no, I'm not angry. All right.
But yeah, so like I said, this deck isn't great just because it doesn't have a whole lot of variety in it, and it doesn't have a whole lot of damage types. But that's why part of the reason that Shattered Peaks is so good, especially the Bat deck, is because all of the guys that you want to put out that are your like main go-to guys all have different damage types. So it's really, really helpful to get because all the ones you want to put out have different damage types. So you can have 4 or 5 out very quickly and very easily.
Yeah, I would find it really, really frustrating to play a deck that has a straight up counter like the poison deck. Like I just can't beat you. That's just awful.
Yeah, and part of it is that it's set up to be kind of a silly gimmick. Like going in, if you're playing that you're not going to win every game. Just because
That's fair.
I mean, just because it is so silly. So I actually have a spell that reveals all of the dragons in my hand and gives me extra AP when I put them down, which is really, really good. Because revealing your hand is always good in every card game ever. So I have these guys who die quickly after you put them out. They're only alive for up to 8 turns. But they do a lot of damage and come out with a lot of AP. So like I dropped that guy down and he had enough to get off 2 attacks and kill that guy before, and hurt him quite a bit before he could do anything about it.
Dang, 26 damage. That guy hurts.
Yep, he's got an ability that's not his normal damage, but he actually gets buffer for every dragon I put out. And so does this guy, actually. And then he's got an ability that lets him do 50% extra damage once every couple of turns.
I like the idea of, dragon mayflies that come out and live for 8 turns.
They're actually really, really good. They do quite a bit of damage.
Seems pretty evenly matched so far. This video goes a lot longer than your other ones.
Yeah, this video is quite a lot more back and forth than a lot of the other ones because there's a lot more fighting in the middle here. Oh, look, there's the stealth guy.
Get it? Kill him. Ah, see, he's got 0 AP left, so you know he's not going to move.
Yes, and I know he's not going to stealth again because he can't use that to stealth. And now I'm trying to figure out how I can kill that guy. But I just got pinged, so
Yeah, it's not. You're not going to kill him by dying.
no, that's not good. But I'll figure out some way. Because I actually have quite a bit of potential damage on the board, so.
And of course, there's all that delicious, resources sitting there too.
Yep. And that's one of the problems with Sundered Lands is almost everything is really expensive. Like, for the most part, stuff is super duper expensive.
I hate to use a Blood Bowl term, but I'm going to anyway. Is there like a rule with tackle zones or anything? Like moving around enemy units?
Nope, the only rule is the first time you engage a turn, you can't disengage unless you have a select few abilities.
Okay. So once you come in within one space, even diagonally of a guy, you can't move again?
No, you have to be next to him.
Okay.
You have to actually be touching him square to square for it to trigger. But there's actually a few shenanigans with how that works versus stealth works, as far as making it so guys can't run away and some other stuff like that, depending on their abilities. It gets a little complicated, but basically, if you start off next to a guy, you can run away, but if you run up and stand next to him, you can't run away.
So even if he had stealth again, he could not have moved anyway.
No, if you're stealth, you disengage. There's a few
Okay.
abilities that take away your engagement, like if you're pacified, you don't engage. If you are paralyzed, you don't engage. If you're stunned, you don't engage.
Got it.
And there's a few others, but those are the main conditions that you can apply. So there's a few ways to get around it, but overall, it's basically like, say, if you run up to a guy, you can't run away that same turn unless you have a few select abilities.
So you get a couple of those Dragon Mayflies out there now.
Yes, I do. Which
doing what they can do, but they're dead in like a limited number of turns anyway.
Right, the 4 or 5 turns for a couple of them. But they did the job and killed that guy that was standing around, so.
And I guess you don't have to worry about being too conservative with them either. You can just send them out and trade damage.
Yeah, because if they die, they were going to die anyway, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Also, this guy is really weird because he hasn't been focusing on that relic at all, the one that lets me drop guys out like right in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Because that saves me a whole turn of like deployment to put him out there. And he's just like, I'll just ignore that. Whatever. I'll just let you drop guys way out in the middle of the fight instead of having to...
Giving you a fighting chance.
I guess. But yeah, so that was a bad idea on his part because he put my guy within double attack range of his guy to do not much to him.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out where I should drop him so he didn't die from poison. Because that's kind of not what I want to happen. I don't even remember what I do in this game. This was too long ago. This is bad. No, I just put it out in the poison anyway, because fuck it, why not?
YOLO.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a pretty good looking attack animation.
Yeah, the lightning looks really good. It's one of the more recent attack types that's come out. But what am I even doing here? I don't understand.
Don't you hate that when you're playing some sort of strategy game and you watch what you do after the fact and you're like, I don't even know why I did that.
Yeah, it's...
Like, I'm sure it made sense at the time. I'm not that bad a player, but what am I doing?
Well, and like, the one I put down just outside of that thing has multi-attack, and so he could have attacked and killed that mushroom that gives me vulnerability to poison already. I'm just like, nope. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna get sprayed here while I'm vulnerable. But yeah, you can see that Poison Spray does absolutely nothing to the relics, so they're just gonna sit there and do more cool shit for me.
Maybe that's why he's not attacking you. Maybe he just didn't have much in the. Maybe he could kill your dudes or kill your relic, but since he can't do both, he's just choosing to kill your dudes.
Probably. Dudes are really more important than the relics are. Overall. Now the
But
other thing you'll notice is that those guys leave a huge Nora globe.
they do.
So part of the thing that kills them quickly is that when they die, they leave twice as much as they normally do. So that's like a full quarter of his cost in Nora that you can get back.
And how much did they cost?
Like 60 something, I want to say.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking like 15, 20 mana.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking as much as your font, more than your font generates every turn, probably.
Yeah, that's actually pretty serious.
So that's another thing about him that makes it a little more interesting. Because if you rush him in there to die, your opponent gets even more resources for it. So if you can kind of plan it out and hold him back a little more, maybe.
Yep, Toad Priest.
Yep. Toad Priest is a dick.
What does Toad Priest do?
He's got
I'm expecting support spells.
yes, he heals everybody when he comes in. He's got another way to heal him when he's running around. And then he's got a way to give guys extra AP every couple of turns. So he's got a bunch of really good support abilities. What am I even? Okay. Okay, yeah. So I'm trying to do what's called a power turn, basically use a spell and a bunch of stuff to kill everyone in one turn, or kill one guy in one turn fully,
Mm-hmm.
so he can't come back. So the flag does extra damage, and then if I hit him with the acid, he actually loses defense because of the acid spray.
Mm-hmm. That
So
makes sense.
it's trying to basically get everything I can down in that one turn that's going to increase my chances of killing him. And it was relatively easy. And Frog Priest
Now
is
you
almost dead, also.
Yeah, Frog Priest is gonna bite it here pretty quick.
Because when he puts out stuff like that, it's oh, he's already dead. I forgot about that. I just was like, screw it, I'll just kill this guy.
Rip. And take his stuff.
Yeah.
Now it looks like there's what a poison ground around the base, but you can still get within diagonally of it.
Yes, it goes out two spaces, up to two,
Mm-hmm.
from that big guy that just died. So two spaces, it's the corner space is counted as two, even though it's connected by the corner, because you have to go one out and one sideways.
Yep.
So it's not too bad, but you get enough knockback through there, and it's not too big of an issue. So this is looking better for me. There's a stealth guy running around somewhere. I don't really know where, because I can't find him. And that guy up there that's on fire is a dick, but
Yeah, he's been doing stuff.
it's okay. I mean, it's not too bad.
I mean, your big dragon's still on the board,
Yeah,
not dead yet.
he's looking a little peaked though.
Yeah, but every shot he takes is a shot that wasn't meant for someone else.
That's true. And I don't even remember what happens in this game. I should probably record these closer to when we talk about them.
Well, I was bugging you like last night repeatedly.
I had things to do last night, alright? Like, I have to have a life at some point. So since his shrine had 27 HP,
Oh,
now this isn't anywhere near as bad for Forglar Swamp as it is for everyone else. Because not only is the faction bonus you get an extra 6 Nora a turn, your avatar also has an ability that gives you an extra 6 Nora a turn. So he's really only down 8 Nora a turn over me, and he just got the kill. So on the big guy that was going to wreck his shit next turn.
hmm. And he can still summon out dudes, but he can only summon them out at the font.
Correct. And that guy died from the turn timer, not from anything uncouth like actually being killed.
Yeah.
So
One would not sink so low as to actually die in this game.
So the little green worm thing there is actually a huge dick. It's really fast and has an ability that keeps you from attacking anyone else. But then when you kill it, it explodes and does like a bunch of damage to you.
Mm. So you can't attack his font or the fire guy until the worm dies.
Well, I could, but I don't have enough to get there. So it would just run and tie me up and wouldn't let me do much. So this isn't terrible for me, but it's not great because I was expecting my big dragon guy to live, and now he's dead.
Hmm. It's interesting because I was not expecting to ever see the big statue come to life as a legit tactic.
Oh, it
More as
definitely
just
is.
and yet here we're definitely seeing it's happening, and it seems he's actually coming out the better for it.
And every once in a while, when you know what you're doing, it can help. But for the most part, just random ones. Most of the time, it doesn't turn out well. But this time, it seems to have worked fairly well for him.
That was clever. You used the guy to suck you in and then stabbed you.
Yeah, he's definitely not a bad player. Um, the rankings are actually messed up, so I can't remember what rank he is. But I want to say he's actually right about the same rank I am presently.
No, again, but the game's over when the statue dies, so you still have to protect your big powerful unit.
Right, so that's why he's kind of running away still. Because while he has quite a bit of health, he doesn't have enough health to just like sit out up front and be like, "Hey, come hit me."
Yeah.
So this guy is kind of fun. Basically, he just flies around and throws area of effect attacks at people.
Hmm.
It's like his entire gimmick. And he heals from every guy he hits with his area of effect attacks too. So
Oh no, he's got another one.
yeah, they don't do very much damage, but they're just super annoying. What am I even doing here? I don't know. I'm so lost. I should know exactly what's going on, but I'm just,
Ah, I won't judge you too
I'm
harshly.
just like, whatever works. So when in doubt, just spray guys with acid.
One of these days, that fighter guy is going to be dead.
Hopefully, because he's a huge pain in my ass. He also has an ability that doesn't really affect me too much, because I don't have a whole lot of physical damage, but that anytime you hit him, he absorbs physical damage and heals for it, basically.
Hmm.
So if you're too heavy on physical damage, it's really, really hard to kill him.
Do you have any bonuses for being on sand?
There are some in this faction. I don't know if this guy has any. I don't remember. I don't think he does. I don't see any down there. This faction actually can put together a whole sand-based deck, though, which is fairly fun to play.
Yeah. I'm sure the gimmicky sword decks, I'm sure, are fun every now and then.
Yeah, like the poison deck's pretty gimmicky, but it's pretty fun when it starts working, and you just are smacking guys through giant poison clouds, and you're like, I don't even care. Like, try and walk towards me. You're gonna hit like 16 things of poison and die.
I'm trying to figure out what his plan is for these slipworms.
Be dicks and try and steal my font with him, and
Yeah.
is
But he
basically
can't
it.
he can't take your font until he takes down the flag, though, right?
Right, but he can take it away. He can make it neutral,
Well, that's true.
so I'm not gaining anything from it, which is what he's trying to do, I believe. So the other thing about Sundered Lands is they don't have a whole lot of damage spells. They have a couple, but they're all really expensive. Most of their spells are designed to make champs better.
Hmm.
Either give them more AP and damage and stuff, or make them attack twice, or copy the abilities of someone else onto them. So it's one of those things where it's a little hard to like chase somebody down and just spell them to death, because you have to have guys out on the board to work the spells for you. I I don't even know what I'm doing at this point.
He threw out a couple more dudes on the right side. What are those?
We actually saw the one in the purple robe last time,
Oh, right, yeah.
because I actually run one of those guys. The entire point of running that guy is that every time he hits somebody, they get knocked back a couple spaces. So you throw up a poison cloud and then go smack a guy through it, and then you're done
Yeah,
because he's
mission
dead.
accomplished.
What am I? don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing now.
You're killing the crap out of that slipworm.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that dude has an ability where anytime any of my guys are dead,
Mm-hmm.
that black looking one has multi attack 3, which means it only costs him 2 AP to do the first 2 attacks instead of 3 and 5. So it's a pretty good ability because you're going to end up with guys dead. And if you don't end up with guys dead, you're really, really winning. So.
Yeah. Fire Dude came back. And I see we only have, what, 4 turns till the Fire Dude you played a while ago comes back into your hand.
Yep. And you put out another bubble on that guy. Because it's actually a pretty good spell. It's fairly cheap for what it does, and it just makes the guy harder to kill. And he's being really aggressive with his avatar.
Yeah, it's right up there.
So, I'm not really sure what his plan was trying to come all the way up with it. Because most special attacks can be used every 2 or 3 turns. But Avatar's special attacks can only be used like once every 10 turns. And I'm not entirely sure why they did it that way. I guess to maybe try and nerf him back down a little bit. But so it's not like he can do that little poison shot thing he did on me the first time. He's going to have to just walk in and smack me if he wants to kill me. And so, again, he's putting that worm in a spot basically where when it explodes, it's going to do the most damage it can.
Now, will you take control of the font again now that the worm isn't there?
Actually, no. I have to have a champion on it to capture it.
Okay.
Relics won't capture, they can only contest. And this seemed like a really bad idea.
For him to move his guy way up?
Yeah. Because he's like right next to where I can drop guys now.
Maybe he feels the ticking of the clock coming.
Maybe. But, I mean, like, I'm going to hit him with a bunch of stuff now. If I can remember what I'm doing. Which I probably cannot. So, like, you can see, he's, I don't know if you've noticed so far, but anytime a champ gets hurt enough, they get kind of a sad look.
Yeah.
So you can see he's already gotten sad there, so he's gotten quite a bit of damage done to him already. And I was trying to decide if I should burn a spell, it'll keep me a little more safe, and I was like, no, I need to save up to actually put more guys out on the board. So now if he wants to live, he's really got to run away, because he doesn't have that much health left.
Well, he does have 9 AP, so. And the nice thing is, I mean, it's hard for you to chase and attack him, too, because you can chase him, sure, but you're not going to be able to hit him when you get there, and then you're just going to get pummeled.
Right, because he's got a couple guys coming for backup, too. So the smart thing is to run away and hope your other guys that are out there can do enough damage to stem the tide, because I don't have that many guys out either.
Yeah, and next turn you might get 1, but that's not a lot.
Yeah, next turn I'll definitely get 1, but I can actually get up to my best 1 next turn, but it's still only 1, and I don't have enough for any spells or anything if I do that either, so. And this seemed really excessive. If this is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, so he used 2 of those Poison Cloud spells, which cost almost as much as that guy costs to kill him. So it's like, well, he died, yeah, and that's bad, but I kind of feel like I'm coming out ahead on this one. Even though, I mean, he died. Like I said, the guy spent so many resources to kill him, and I'm like, oh, I'm okay with this. This can happen.
Yeah.
So there's the ability that keeps me from doing anything but attacking that guy, which for a melee champ isn't a big deal, but when I've only got a ranged attack, makes it kind of a pain in the butt.
I feel that was a really odd direction to run in. I mean, you think he could have at least ran and then thrown up the poison clouds behind him as a, hey, come and get me?
Yeah, but the poison clouds were specifically to kill that one guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm just kind of wondering, could he have thrown them up in such a way that they could have done that and covered his escape? For instance, could you have done that and then run through the poison clouds standing over by his little frog priest.
Not really, not to do what he wanted to do with him, because that's probably one of the few damage spells he's got. So if he wanted to
Yeah,
kill... Oh my god, what am I even doing?
playing poorly.
Yeah, no shit.
I actually don't know.
Like, there's a guy right there I could be killing, and instead I'm attacking a guy that's got a,
A bubble.
a bubble that I can't kill.
Yeah, but you're attacking it twice. And then throwing up a. Oh, it says slum market. For just a second, I thought it said slam market. Like, we're going to slam this sucker down.
No, so every faction has a little market that they released a while back that's actually pretty good to contest with because it's got a decent amount of HP for its price.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are pretty bad. And you can use it to sell your guy's abilities. And it's pretty cheap. It's like 2 or 3, or a little more than that, but it's a couple Nora per ability that you can do. And most of them are pretty bad. Like, one of them's like, you can heal your guys for 10 HP for like 5 Nora, and it's like, that's not very much, and that's kind of expensive.
Hmm.
The Forsaken Waste one is really good because you can give your guys extra AP with it. And I really like the Sundered Lands ones because both of the abilities it grants are really good. It gives you Strike, which lets you ignore defense, pretend it's 0, which is a pretty good skill. And then it gives you Assault, which gives you a free attack if anyone tries to disengage and get away from you, which is also a pretty good skill, I feel like. So that's one of the reasons I like to run it, and like I say, it's a really cheap way to contest.
How often do these really long games happen?
Not all that often. There's actually a special achievement in the game, and achievements don't really serve for anything except getting you more gold, which is kind of like the free-to-play currency. But there's a special achievement for having 10 of your champs die and killing 10 of the opponent's champs.
Hmm.
Which I think I just hit 10 dead. Yep, looks like.
Interesting.
And I have no idea how many of these guys I've killed. I've lost track. But
All right, hold on. We got to start the commentary over again, and I count this time.
I'm gonna vote no. But
Darn.
Sorry,
Thread. I tried.
maybe that's just me. So this is not looking great for me at this point.
No, I mean, it still looks like it's a toss-up. I mean, he seems to have a couple of guys, but I know the Frog Priest doesn't do a heck of a lot on his own. The Bubble Guy's almost dead. What's he gonna? He's not gonna come and attack you with his base.
Yeah, but it's still not great. Like, I made some poor tactical decisions there. And I'm paying the price for it.
Hmm. There goes your stuff.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm like, well, what do I do from here? Because it's getting like I don't even know what to do next. Because all those guys are kind of running away, but I still got to kill that little worm thing.
Yeah, those guys have been kind of a pain.
And that's the whole point, is they're fairly cheap, and they're just huge dicks to deal with. Because the fact that they're hard to catch, and they can lock down ranged units, and they explode when you finally kill them. So, and that's a spell that gives him more Nora too, so he's actually really not doing too bad on the Nora front.
A spell gives him more Nora? I mean, why would you not just cast that every time, all the time?
Because they have cooldowns between when you can cast them, and it's one of those, like, yes, it gives you more Nora in the long run, but you can't always afford it. Like, yes, it's good in the long run, but you might be dead in the long run before you get a chance to do anything with it. And I was like, all right, screw it. I want to bring mine out.
All right, Dragon Dude.
And I totally forgot about an ability on that guy that lets him dodge ranged attacks. And I was like, shit. Shit.
I'm so glad I did that. That was genius of me.
So I'm like, okay, this is not good. It's not good at all. He's like, okay, wait, why is he not doing anything?
And then he surrenders. Yay!
No, not quite. It's even better than that.
Even better than that.
Even
He
better.
he attacks himself and dies.
No, although most of the time the honorable thing for people to do is transfigure and on maps with cliffs, run your guy off a cliff. That's a fairly standard thing. I've done that. I've done that more than once, and I've seen it happen more than once.
Very nice.
So,
When are we gonna see a cliff map?
I think actually I don't know. There's a couple of them with cliffs, but they don't come up in the rotation a lot.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out.
So he just disconnected.
Oh, well, uh-oh.
He just rage quit.
No way. I mean, come on, you weren't even in. It doesn't even look that good for you.
Yeah, no, he just rage quit. So I cut out the 4 minute wait I had for the disconnect
Wow.
timer.
Not even a quit, a cord pull.
Well,
Wow.
if you close out the client, like if you just straight up close it out, it counts it as a cord pull.
Yeah.
So, and
That's
4 minutes is more than enough time to get back into the game unless you have entirely lost internet or are intentionally rage quitting. So,
I'm gonna assume you lost the internet because that I would have fought that out.
I'm going to assume it was a rage quit because I actually played this guy before this and lost because I rushed him too hard.
Huh. That's
But
that was wow, that was certainly a game.
I'm going to count that as a win by rage quit. So, go me.
All right, go Yappo.